Hello everyone, you're watching Code with Shubhajit. Hope you're doing awesome. Let's get started today with one of the easy problems from Lead Code. I just thought that okay, let's keep up things easy after medium and hard problems. So that's why. So here we have a row with maximum ones, and let's go through the problem statement and understand what it's trying to say. So we are given an m cross n matrix called mat, zero indexed position. Okay, fine. The row which contains the maximum count of ones and the number of ones in that row. Okay. In case there are multiple rows, we that have the maximum count of ones, the row with the smallest row number should be selected. Okay, let's understand with this example. So we have 0, 1 and 1, 0. Okay, so you can see here in the first 0th index, 0th row, we have the count of 1 as 1. In the index is equals to 1, we have the count of 1 as 1. Same only, right? The gist of the problem is we have to return the row, the index of the row, which has the maximum frequency or maximum count of 1, as well as what is that count in that row. These two we have to return. And if in a case where we have the maximum count in multiple rows, more than one row, in this case we have a count of 1 in both the rows. Okay, so for that we have to return the index, row index, which is the smallest. So in this case the 0th index row is the smallest, and what is the count of 1 there? That is 1. So 0 and 1 is the answer. Okay, let's go to the OneNote to understand it better. So I have taken a simple array here. You can see in 0th index we have the values as 0, 1, 1. So what is the count here? The count of 1 here is 2, and in the index is equals to 1 here. What is the count here? The count here is 1, because the number of times 1 is coming is 1 here, the number of times 1 is coming here is 2. So what will be returned? The returned value will be an integer array which will be consisting of two values. The first value is the index of the array, which has the maximum count of 1. In our case it is 0th index. And what is the count in that 0th index? The number of times 1 is occurring is 2. So this will be the answer which is returned. If you see here, we have to return an integer array which will be consisting of two values. There is not much optimization to it. This is a simple problem which you can actually know by traversing each of the rows. Okay, so if you see, you will be traversing the 0th row. You will be having a variable, let's say count. Okay, sorry for the handwriting. So you will be having a variable count which will be storing, okay, for each row what is the count. So in our case the count is 2, and we will also be having a max count variable which will be having the record of the max count of all the rows. So this will be keeping that record. Okay, so initially the max count will be 0, so the count value cannot go below 0. If there are no ones in that row, it means that the count is 0, it will not be below that. So that's why the bottom case we are taking as 0. Okay, now count of 2 for the first row comes, so this max count will be updated to 2. Now for the second row it will run, second row it will see, okay, the count is 1, so will it be updated? No, because max count is already greater than 1. So 2 is the answer, which is the maximum count. And we will also have a variable which is, let's say, index, which will store that, okay, for which row index the maximum count came. In this case the index is 0. Okay, good. This is very much simple explanation. If I go into the code part, then you will understand that how things are done. Okay, so let's initialize the variables first. So we have an index of 0 initially. We are taking the index also as 0. Okay, that is the initial index. And max count we are taking as 0. As we have discussed while the explanation, right? We will actually find out the size of the array, which is mat.length. Okay, I'm confusing with some other language. N is equals to mat of 0.length. So this is a m cross n 2D array. So after this, we will be running the for loop. So for int I is equals to 0, I is less than m, and I plus plus. Okay, so now at mat of I, we have a row. Here, what we have to do, we have to initialize a count variable as 0. This will actually like take into account the responsibility of this count variable. For each row, what is the count of ones? That's its responsibility. Okay, so in this case, again, for int j is equals to 0, j is less than n, and j plus plus. So now we are traversing through the ith row. Okay, ith row, this I, whatever it is pointing at, that row we will be traversing now. So we will see key, okay, uh, count plus is equals to mat of I and j. I hope you are able to understand that. Why I'm doing this? Because if it is 0, it will add a 0 only. It doesn't matter. If it is a 1, it will add 1. So at the end, we have the total number of ones only, right? So once this is done, after coming out of the for loop, we will check that, okay, is it the case that the count is greater than max count? If that's the case, then I will update my max count to the count which is populated currently. But here I also have to change the index. Index is I, because we are at the ith row now. We are inside the ith row now. Okay. So once this is done, after coming out of the loop, we have to return an integer array with two values. First with so return new int. So the first value is the, let me check, the first value is the index, okay, and the second value is the maximum count of ones. Okay, I also want you to focus on this if condition. So this if condition is written in a way count is greater than, and why I have written that, why I have not done count is greater than equals to, I have written it count is greater than, because if there are multiple maximum counts, okay, for example here only if you see 0 indexed row and 1 indexed row, they both have similar count of 1. Okay, so in that case, for this second one, it will not update the index. That's why we are doing checking this, because if you see here, count is greater than max count, right? So when we are reaching at the second point, the max count will be 1 and the count will also be 1. So this condition will not be true. This will only be true if count is 2 or greater than that. But in this case, it is 1, which is same as the max count. So I will not update the index. Okay. Okay, I missed a semicolon here. So I will not update the index, and that's the logic. It's a very simple logic and a simple problem as well. Let me run it and see if I have made some errors or not. Let's see. Okay, it has accepted all the test cases. Okay, just mentioning about the time complexity here. So if you can see that we are running over a double for loop here, okay, which actually traverses all the elements of the 2D matrix. So in this case, the time complexity will be, it will be, if this is m, the size of the row part, and this is n, the size of the columns part. So the time complexity will be big O of m cross n. Okay, and I will recommend you guys to have a dry run, taking some more examples and some bigger examples actually, and then you can actually submit the solution. Code it on your own, submit the solution, and see if all the test cases pass. In that way, you will learn. If you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. I will be really happy to help. That's all for today, guys. Have a good day.